All right, welcome everyone. I'm Jerome Rankine, a board member for the Kingfield Neighbor Association. I want to start off by saying that the folks at KFNA are known to brag about how talented and committed our Kingfield community is. I figured that this was probably as good a time as any to help everyone in the neighborhood learn more about the cool things their neighbors are up to. Part of that is so that you can do your own bragging, but mostly it's so that we can get to know each other better. So yesterday I was on a online seminar with a professor at NYU, and he was talking about the term social distancing and why he didn't like that term. Uh, what we're really doing is physical distancing. And right now, social connection is more important than ever. And understanding what drives and fulfills our neighbors can help build and strengthen that connection. So that's in part what we're doing here today. So I want to start off with no further ado by introducing our first, you might say, guinea pig. I'm going to go with guest, Kingfield neighbor and small business owner, Whitney Emanuel. Welcome, Whitney.
Thanks, Jerome.
Very cool. So let's just dive right in. Where in the neighborhood are you?
I am off of 37th and 1st. Oh, I also want to say I've been saying the same thing about physical distancing. That's exactly. It's not
Exactly
social
right.
distancing. We are socially connected and still. So I just wanted to insert that. But yes,
Absolutely.
37th and 1st.
Cool. And how long have you been in Kingfield?
Almost 7 years.
Excellent. Excellent. Long timer. Well, longer than me. I think there's probably some long timers who
yes, that's a
dwarf
relative
both of
term.
us.
Yes, this is true.
So tell me about what you do for work.
I do financial planning.
Mhm.
So that is my company, Strategic Visionaries Financial Planning. What I really love to do, what it really is, it's aligning people's values and their actions with their money decisions.
Sure.
That's the bottom line.
And I imagine that a lot of folks need some realignment in that regard.
Oh, yes, very much so. I mean, it's just because people don't really think about, your values are shown where you spend your money and where you spend your time, right? And so if you're not spending your money in alignment with your values, you're not going to be at peace.
Sure, sure. And how did you get into that work? What was your path?
So it was totally by accident. I graduated from the U of M, and I majored in linguistics, and I speak Spanish. And then I minored in econ and Spanish. So econ a little bit connected, but because it was not my plan. I thought maybe I could be a diplomat. I don't know, who knows? So then I also wanted to go help with an orphanage in Mexico when I graduated, but I knew I needed money to do that. So I went on Monster, and then I checked the box, financial advisor. I had no idea what it really meant, maybe a money coach or something. And then Ameriprise recruited me. And so I had some phone sales, experience beforehand, and sales and online customer service. So it was good background for it. And so I had to take all these tests, and they trained me in. And then I got clients, and I loved my clients. Like I fell in love with my clients, and I fell in love with the work. And here I am 9 years later.
Yeah. So what's changed the most sort of in those 9 years about how you do this work?
Yeah, great question. So Ameriprise is a good place to start. But I would say if you really want to be independent and really have that autonomy, it's not the best place to stay, because they're very focused on their brand, right?
Sure.
It's difficult for me to have my brand when I'm in that big box. So I left, but I have always focused on financial planning from the very beginning. So I lead with planning. Other advisors may lead with wealth management or estate planning, but I really focus on leading with the planning. And what is the plan? What are your values? And that's probably what's evolved the most, is that before I've said, I do all these things, and now I just say, I lead with planning.
Yeah. Yeah. How, if any, has your work changed because of this coronavirus crisis?
You and I had talked about this a little bit before. Not really much at all. Thank God. I already pretty much had a 100% virtual office. So all my files are electronic. I was already doing virtual meetings. I use GoToMeeting, and I work clients all throughout the States too. So they're used to working with me virtually.
Yeah.
Even my local clients and some of our check-ins, it's just a call like this. And I've learned to be really effective not in person. And so the transition, was a little bit different. I'm saving money because I'm not paying for like a shared office space.
Yeah.
That's about it. So, I mean, I've, like I said, I feel very fortunate that I was ahead of the curve and not knowing that it would be perfect for a time like this.
Right. So one of the things that makes me curious about your job is that through the course of it, like you said, you are learning what people value. You are learning stories about their lives and how they have their lives aligned. What does it feel like to sort of have that sort of intimate knowledge of not just people's money, but about like what they want and what their goals are for their lives and for their family?
Yeah, it could be heavy. I mean, I'm the first to know about everything. I'm the first to know if someone's pregnant. I'm the first to know if somebody dies. So, I'm the first to know for sure. But I really do. So one of my personal core values is family.
Sure.
And so, I have a 6-year-old daughter. I'm very close with my parents and my extended family, but I also count friendships as a part of family. And then also my client. I really love them. I have great loyalty from them. And I've always, from the very beginning, have their best interest in mind, then really fosters trust and it fosters confidence. And so, because it's really, like you said, it's not even really about money. It's about what the money is going to do for them. And so I feel really fortunate to be able to verbalize that to people and then have them trust me. I feel really honored by it.
Yeah.
Actually.
Is that kind of what keeps you in this field? You talked about like mission-driven work and finding your way into this from that. So is that sort of, is that what part of what makes you feel fulfilled in this job?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yes, absolutely. In fact, that's why I say I could never leave because my clients would kill me. But no, I mean, I love it. I get to show people love. I feel like it's like I get to show people that they're worthy of planning. I mean, so many people have so much shame when it comes to money.
Sure.
No matter how much or how little you have, it really does not matter. Because we're so miseducated and uneducated on it, and there's so much information out there that just isn't helpful, and a lot of marketing to spend. And so I like to remove that shame from people. And I mean, removing shame, showing people love, and empowering people. It's very fulfilling for those reasons.
Not to ask you to do your job for free, but is there any small tokens of advice that you can give that you think broadly apply to the way that people think about money and about their finances?
Yeah, no, that's a great, first of all, that's a whole marketing 101. You have to give something for free, right? But I've actually I just started a series on social media, and it's 5-minute videos called Money Smarts. And so It's just like, hey, here's 5 minutes on something that you may have questions about. But so it's a great question. So I'll just give a few things. Well, I'll give some basic tips. So 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings. I think it's considering the fact that so many people are unemployed and this is such a disruptive time in our lives. And I feel like so many people were not prepared financially for it.
Yeah.
And so you have to plan for the worst when you're considering financial planning. And that's not always fun to do, but you really have to look at what is worst scenario and am I ready for that? You have to ask yourself that question and then for that. And then because I always plan conservatively. And I think we're very opportunistic in our mindset and just human nature. But we really have to look at what's actually going to happen. So I'd say to have at least 3 to 6 months, maybe even of income, right, in savings. But the thing is, it doesn't all have to be in cash. So you can be diversified with that. So that would be one. What's another thing maybe that a misperception that people have? You do not have to have a lot of money to invest. Like, I think that's something that they're like, I don't have enough money to invest. No, you can pay off debt and invest. And you can do what's called dollar cost averaging, where you just put in a little bit at a time. And it's actually better than trying to throw in a big lump sum at once, because what if you had thrown in a big lump sum 3 months ago?
Sure.
Then you would have almost half of it, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's actually more accessible than people think. And the same goes with working with financial advisors or planners. It's good to interview. You don't have I work with have a lot of assets. And so how I do that is I just charge a monthly planning fee versus saying, hey, you have to have money for me to manage. And so if you're really seeking advice and you have discretionary income, you still could certainly work with a financial advisor potentially.
Cool. Thank you for those. If people want more financial tips, how do they
Yeah, I
find
hope
you?
that's helpful. Oh yeah, and so they can find me. I'd say, like I said, on social media, I am very active in giving just small tips. So it's Strategic Visionaries is my company. So you can find me on Facebook. Whitney Emanuel is my name, so you can also search me there on Facebook. Same on LinkedIn, Instagram, but Instagram is SV Financial Planning. And then also my website is strategic-visionaries.com.
Cool.
And they
One
could
more.
also email or call me. So,
We'll make sure all your information is available.
okay.
One more question for me. I'm not seeing any questions pop up in the chat, but if they do, we'll tag them on.
Okay.
But starting and running your own business is a lot.
Yeah.
What have you sort of taken away from that experience, and what would you want other folks to know about that experience?
Do it now. Well, I mean, so here's what happened with me. I started at Ameriprise, and then they changed how we were working with our clients, which I hated, because autonomy is another one of my very important values, and they took that away from me. So I decided to leave. And so with that, I don't know that I would recommend that everybody do it this way, but what I did was I was pregnant. I took advantage of my maternity leave. I came back on the first day that I could leave after maternity leave. I left, and then I went on my own. I had my child shortly before that, and then I got divorced. And so, I mean, just so many things happened after I went on my own, but I still made it. But what I would say more important than monetary resources when you're going out to be a business owner is your support system. I think that because if I didn't have my support system at that time, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. But what I could have done, I mean, money, it can be easily made. It's very true. You could just go and grind and go do an Uber or something else. But what I'd say is that you can't find a support system very easily.
Yeah.
So to really have that, I'd say is probably the best thing. And then if you have an idea about going to start a business, don't think it's too stupid. Don't think if it's not done before. Do some research and seek experts who are in that field. And I am sure they would be happy to give you advice. If anybody's ever interested in going to financial planning, I love talking about it. So
Very cool.
those would be the 2 pieces of advice for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Whitney.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you guys see Whitney out and about in Kingfield, just stop her for some more financial tips. Go to her website. You can find them there. And thank you for being part of these 15 minutes. This is really great. It's our first time around, but we'll be back again next week, the same time, the same place, 5:30 at this link, with some more conversations with your Kingfield neighbors. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye, folks.